Hi guys. Okay, welcome to part 2 video. What we're going to do now is we're just going to do a bunch of different examples of citing things correctly. I'm not going to sit and do 100 million different ways of doing it. I just want to show you the one that I actually care about. Like if you memorize this and you know how to cite it this way, you will be way ahead of half of the kids in this school. I mean, I was just talking with some 8th grade teachers and they were telling me that their 8th grade students can't even cite correctly, which concerns me because that is so wrong. And, I mean, it's illegal if you're not citing correctly. So we want to make sure that we're doing it. Now, in this practice, I just pulled a bunch of quotes from random locations, and then I told you what the source was and the title of the source. So what we're going to do now is just cite it correctly. Remember, citing is giving credit to where I'm getting some information from. Now, this is very important. If you're getting your information from your notes, give credit to your notes. If you're getting information from a map, give credit to the map. I don't care where it comes from, give credit to where you get it from. Okay. So I'm just going to do the very simple basic according to and practice, practice, practice. If you want to like show me up and well, maybe I'll switch it up a little. We'll see how I feel. But if this is actually, I'm going to just do it the basic, simple way because some of you are really struggling with this. And if this is all you learn, then great. If you want to try the other methods that I showed you in the first video, challenge yourself and try to do it other ways. Okay. So here we go. According to the source is an article. Okay. So according to the article, title of the article, cell phones, academic tool or distraction. It states. Now some of you are like, why do you have a question mark here? Well, I'm just copying the title exactly as I saw it. And the title had a question mark, so I put a question mark. Okay. It states cell phones are, and I have to type it exactly as I see it, even though they've spelled cell phones incorrectly. Cell phones is one word. In the direct quote, it's separated. So I've got to copy it exactly as I see it. Are an academic resource since students use them as calculators, clickers for reviews, planners, etc. Now I'm going to put an extra period there because that's the end of my quote. Etc. is an abbreviation, and so that's why there's a period there. And then this period is for me saying this is the end of my evidence. Okay, the end of my citation. This is correct. Oops. Okay, this is absolutely 100% correct. If you guys did this just like this every single time, you would get 100%. Okay, this is for work right here, giving credit to where it comes from. So let's practice again. So this particular quote comes from a story, okay, from a book titled, it's actually a short story titled 11. Okay, so again, I'm going to just do the basic, simple way of citing. If you want to try and spice it up and do something different, try it. Okay, so I'm going to say according to the story. Remember, I'm calling the source what it is. It told me it's a story. According to the story 11, it states, and then I'm going to type the quote. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside, inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other each year inside the next one, period, end quote. Now I know right here that it's a comma. However, because this is the end of where I'm ending, I'm putting a period. That shows that that's the end of my citation. Okay, so the next one, look here, what's my source? It's a chart, so it's going to be even different. So according to the chart, title of the chart, moon phases, it showed, okay, because it may not state, maybe it showed, quote, the shadow of the earth is what creates the appearance of a change in the moon shape, period, end quote. Okay. Maybe this was a chart that Miss Pena showed me in science class. I don't know. Okay. Now let's try one more time. Now I'm going to show you guys one thing different with this particular one. All sources are put into quotation marks like what we've been doing, except for novels. Novels are underlined, okay? They're the only thing that are underlined. So I'm going to say according, and I said novels, books. It should just be books. So according to the textbook, Ancient Civilization, it stated. Okay, now I'm going to underline this. It stated ancient Mesopotamians had technology that still astounds archaeologists to this day. The advancements that humankind made during that period of time led to huge gains in technology for centuries afterward. Notice again, I'm going to change it to a period. I spelled something wrong because this is a direct quote. I got to make sure everything's spelled correctly, and then that would be correct. So sources are always put into quotation marks, the title of the source, except for a book is underlined. That is the only difference when it comes to citation. Okay. Now, what I would like to do now is I've sat and showed you guys how to practice and how to cite things correctly. I wish we could go on and on and on forever about that. But the truth is, the real question is, Ms. Robinson, how do I find evidence? Now, when I look at this, okay, let's practice that. Let's actually practice how to find evidence. So the way we find evidence is we're going to have a source. So today I'm going to give you guys an article. It's a very short article, and I'm going to read it with you. Now, before I begin reading this article, the first thing that I want to do is I want to read the directions for my assignment that I'm going to have to find evidence for, because I want to make sure that I'm finding evidence correctly. I don't want to waste my time reading an article and then at the end be like, wait, what was I supposed to be looking for? I don't remember, and I got to reread the whole article. That sounds like a waste of time to me. So the directions for this say, read the following article. After reading the article, write a thesis statement followed by one correctly cited piece of evidence that would support your thesis on the following prompt. Argue whether or not there are prejudice during the Great Depression in the 1930s. Cite evidence from this text in your answer. So before I even begin reading, I want to kind of think about this to myself and say, okay, what am I going to have to be answering? What does my evidence have to support? Well, remember that we find the question within the prompt, and the question here says, argue whether or not there was prejudice during the Great Depression in the 1930s. So the question is, was there prejudice during the Great Depression in the 1930s? So my answer is, there was or was not prejudice during the Great Depression in the 1930s. Now, everyone's answer is going to be different. I'm saying that there was. Now, do I know that? Well, based on my background knowledge, yes. Let's say I didn't know if there was or wasn't. If I don't know how to answer this, then I'm going to read the article first. Based off reading the article, I will then come up with my response. So, why don't we, for now, put a blank here. There was or was not prejudice during the Great Depression in the 1930s. Okay? According to the article, Mexican migrant workers in the 20th century stated, and then I'm going to put a direct quote here. Okay? That is going to be the start of my response. So I need to do two things while I'm reading this. One, I need to decide whether there was prejudice during the Great Depression or not, and how do I know there was. And that line is going to then become my evidence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to actually stop this video and move on to the next video because I won't be able to read the entire article and have this discussion with you in the time that remains in my video. Okay, so when we come back to the next video, we need to read the article and decide whether there was or was not prejudice and how we know that there was or wasn't.